Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec testing video. You join us at the Out of Spec track or proving grounds in this case, where we are running another episode of Run to Zero. This is where we find out what electric cars do when you run them completely out of charge to dead where they stop moving. Each electric car goes below zero, some don't hit zero, everything has weird messages, odd things happen, and I've heard some really weird things with the Chevy Spark hitting 0% and dying. And in this video, we're gonna find out what happens when you run our Chevy Spark EV completely out of charge to zero. Hopefully this is something that will never happen to you in the real world. Always remember, you can extend your range by dropping speed and shutting off loads. Electric cars can go really far if you're just super gentle on them and don't drive 80 miles an hour down the highway. So this is not necessarily a customer representative use case, but it is interesting to benchmark what every electric car does when you run them all the way to zero, and we have a perfect place to do it. For example, if you can zoom in all the way over there, we have a ChargeRiggs mobile DC fast charger that's charging up the Leaf. If you've watched our previous episode, that's happening right there. However, our Spark EV will not charge off our ChargeRiggs. Some of you may know who are familiar with the Spark EV. This does not follow a perfect spec of the CCS charging protocol. This is an older DIN spec and it's a little bit weird implementation. And the guys at ChargeRiggs, we're going to try to modify the trailer to charge this. We haven't given them enough time to get there and do that yet. So I have another mobile charging solution that I'm excited to share with you. Now, before we get into the testing procedures and everything, this is how we're going to charge up the Spark on the side of the road. I've brought along my range extender. This is the EcoFlow Pro Ultra, the Delta Pro Ultra. And they actually sent it to us for a video on Out of Spec reviews, and they're letting me keep it, which is so cool. So I'm able to do interesting AC charging experiments. Now, before you complain about the weight of this thing, this is not that heavy. This is 60, 70 pounds, something like that. And weight doesn't really make an impact to the range of an electric car. It's all about aero, rolling resistance. And for a test like this is margin of error type weight right here. So I'm not worried about that at all. This is really not super heavy. Of course, I could lose a few pounds and that would go a long way for doing nothing because weight doesn't matter. Anyway, I have it in the smallest configuration with about a 6 kilowatt hour battery pack down here and my high power inverter up here. I have an adapter to go out of my 240 volt outlet to the NEMA 1450, which will then feed my mobile EVSE, and I'll be able to charge at the maximum AC charging rate of the Spark of a whopping 3.3 or 3.7 kilowatts. That is because the onboard charger of the Spark is really, really slow. But again, I can't DC charge it off the ChargeRiggs due to an interrupt problem. This is a great way to carry around a spare battery. When it dies, plug it in, and hopefully we'd be good to go. So let me tell you a little bit about the Spark because I don't know much. It is let me check the model year, 2016 Chevy Spark electric. That means it's not the early one with the A123 battery. That's the one that had a ton of torque. This is the later one with maybe an LG battery, if I remember correctly, LG or SK. Timon can research it and throw it up on the screen. And we'll also input the usable capacity or gross capacity when new. I want to say it was around 18, 20 kilowatt hours, somewhere around there. It's degraded a little bit, I'm sure. This one has not many miles on it. Let's check 43,500 miles on the nose. Still pretty healthy. We have been driving this thing hard, but I have calibrated the BMS. Full charges, full discharges. It should be whacked into shape. This was one of the cars that we used on the 5 grand Fizz. And so to walk you through the testing procedures of what we're going to do to run it out to zero, I will show you first where we are starting this test. This is something I haven't figured out how to standardize yet. I'm not sure it needs to be a standardized metric. Typical GM, bomb, and bing. So come on in here. I want to show you the instrument cluster while this is dinging at us. Nothing we can do about that. I have 2 battery bars indicating, I think, 20% state of charge. But it starts to warn and yell at us when we get down to 1 bar, is my understanding. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna run climate control on auto. There's no eco mode in this car. I'll just keep it out of sport mode. And we'll basically log the distance of, what happens when it gets to 0 miles and 0%. But as soon as we see 0 miles and no bars left on the battery, I'm gonna hit the trip computer and we'll see how far past 0, if at all, it goes. You know, there's two schools of thought, which is give the EV driver accurate and great information so that 0 means 0 and they know exactly how far the car will go before it runs out. And the other school of thought is the EV driver is going to mess up. And so as the automaker, put a buffer below 0. And how big should that buffer be, and what should the warning messages be? Well, everyone has a different idea of what that scenario driving an electric car should be like. Hopefully it's something you never find yourself in. Ask any EV driver. Very rarely will you hear anyone or even meet anyone who's run out of charge completely. It does happen, in all transparency. Some people ignore it, some people mess up, some people don't know they can drop speed to extend the range. And in general, this will just be a fun experiment to see what happens when we run the cars all the way out to dead to 0. So I'm going to show you what happens in our Spark when we run it to dead. Let's jump in, and what I'm going to do is drive between 30 and 50 miles an hour around the Out of Spec track, simulating a back road driving style. And this will also help us to know what to expect when we do our 70-mile-per-hour highway range tests. So many times we drive new cars for the first time in our range test, and we're like guessing what the car is going to do while we're on the highway. Here, we will know exactly the behavior of the car before we go out and do our range tests, so we're not impeding traffic or doing anything dangerous, running out of charge in a construction zone, for example. That's never happened, hopefully never will. Fingers crossed, everything always works out in our testing. We've been so lucky. So I'll reset the trip computer in here as soon as we hit 0. We're going to go for a drive. Let's go see how far the Spark goes when it hits 0. Well, you guys join me in the Spark. We've got a couple menus that we can pull up, so I can click this for a hotkey to get to our, let's see, power flow. Yeah, so we're down to, I don't even know what state of charge. The Spark doesn't indicate state of charge as a number, but I can go to energy details. Great. Since last full charge. So there's no way to reset this metric, but I think I've done 1 or 2 middle of the way charges. So let's ignore that menu. All right, into L for increased regen. We have 5 miles of range predicted. Don't you gauge that, because we have been ripping it on track. And we have 2 bars of battery. We'll see what happens when we hit 1 bar, and then again we'll reset the trip computer when we hit 0 bars altogether. Windows up, climate control set on auto to, comfortable mid 70-degree temperature range, something normal. This is not meant to be the most scientific test, just a great indication of what happens when you run a car to 0. So I'm going to drive between 30 and 50 miles an hour in the Spark, and I'll let you know what happens when stuff pops up. Should be kind of fun. While we're coming around, it looks like everything has gone green on the Flex 120, so it looks like it completed the leaf up to 100%. Very good. So that just went from dead to full. Very cool to see. All right, well, I'll have Alyssa hook up the truck to it while I'm out running this test. We just dipped down from 2 bars to 1 bar, and it is flashing. But other than that flashing bar, no indication of any problem at the moment. Again, just driving normal B road speeds, using regen to slow down, not doing anything fancy with the car, not being extra hard on it. We want to just drain it as if you were in a situation where you're running low and you're driving on back roads to extend the range off the highway. I think that's a very reasonable thing to do. Let me know what you think in the comments. Interestingly, we just went up a battery bar. That's probably because we regened into that corner and the pack voltage came up a bit. Now we're back to flashing. So we were teetering right on that edge. I'm guessing indicating 10% to 20%. Again, General Motors vehicles, they are experts at giving you the least amount of information about your car's diagnostics. Kind of annoying. The first message just came up. It says charge vehicle soon. Okay, well, that's even before we've hit 0%, and it's still showing 4 miles remaining. Again, this is not a calibrated guessometer. This is racetrack miles. So now that we're being much more gentle on it, we should see, basically we've gone 3 miles and this has only lost 1 mile. That is not a surprise at all. So all is good. We're just driving normal speeds. Whoa, that was unexpected. We have propulsion power is reduced, sort of turtle mode, and I felt the throttle back down like really cut the power off of me there. So that means that's before we even hit 0%, isn't it? So I guess what I should do is let me just log the distance from here. So let's reset trip. Come on, reset. There we go. We'll reset from when the point propulsion power is reduced. If I floor it, It gives us about 70 kilowatts. I don't want to do that too much. I just was curious. And so now we are in turtle mode with the bottom battery flashing. So that's when we will, that's like the main indication. Okay, something's wrong, something's out. Even though it's just saying you've got distance, propulsion power is definitely reduced and we don't have much power. I mean, it's still plenty fast with 70 kilowatts, but not the normal 120 that this thing can do. We just got another charge vehicle now, and we went from 1 mile to low. So that is really the big thing. So that happened at exactly 3.3 miles into this trip. So we know, for another calculation of when it says low, how far can we go? This is really indicating 0 miles to me. And so let's see how much of a buffer there is. Now I feel like we're officially into the buffer. What are we going to call that? Riding the buffer? No, because we ride the charging curve, blasting through the buffer. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. I feel like we could make a cool t-shirt with a buffer zone, something like that. And just after we hit low, the battery icon no longer shows the battery bars whatsoever. It is indicating we are completely out of juice altogether. Very good. Still feeling good. Still feeling like, wow, plenty of performance in the pedal as well. Still feeling very nice. I don't want to, again, juice it too hard. We're just going to keep it nice and steady, 30 to 50 miles an hour. Just simulating back road driving. Alyssa's going to go drive the Leaf off of 100%, so she'll drive it down to, I don't know, 70% or so. She may be lapping us in the Leaf, doing some hardcore passes as she drains that thing off of top charge. I feel like it's the $5 fizz all over again because the Leaf is going for the win. Hell yeah. We were just coming up with stupid stuff to do out on the track now. It's kind of fun. Oh, she's ripping it. Look at her go. Hell yeah. Get it, Alyssa. Oh, we just got another warning. Out of energy. Charge vehicle now. This is interesting that it's showing 0 miles instead of low. This out of energy warning came at 5.1 miles. So only about 1.5 miles in or so from when we hit the low warning. And I am full throttle right now. So this is everything it can do. 3 kilowatts power output. This is absolutely matted to the floor. And so really not much buffer below 0 at all. Let's see what happens as I keep it floored and see how much farther we can really coast or if it's just going to shut off on us. It does feel like climate control has stopped now at the moment. It's getting a little bit higher moisture content in here. Can definitely tell that the AC compressor has stopped running and we are seemingly completely out of juice with just 1 kilowatt power draw coming out of this thing. Wow. Very quickly, this thing drained all the way out at the bottom. There is not much below 0. And honestly, I think that's totally fine. Everything this car did felt very acceptable to me. Nothing weird. I don't like how it goes low instead of showing the mileage at all times, but hey, that's all right. And we are just slowly dying on this uphill. It is basically making no power, 0 kilowatt power output there as we coast to our slow death. Well, our track is pretty flat, but we are getting a slight downhill advantage. There's 50-foot elevation gain and loss overall over the 2-mile road course, and we're on the downhill side. It's definitely not outputting any power, so I'm going to cap it at whatever we end with at 6 miles past when we hit low power mode, or turtle mode is when we reset this, because if you're on flat ground, I don't think you'd go this far. And I guess we'll see what happens on this uphill section through here, but we're definitely losing speed. Yeah. I'm just going to keep it floored because why not? Kind of fun to see what happens. But we're definitely dying. It's the equivalent of being in neutral with a little push, though. Like, I feel like neutral would be a little bit less easier roll than this would be. I'm curious if we get any more messages when we get all the way to 0. I'm going to roll my window down here just before, in case 12 volt dies, keep driver window down. I mean, it's definitely pushing us along. It's different than neutral. We are getting just a tiny bit of motive force. Yeah, and I can feel it kind of pulsing at the bottom. This would be great just to get you off the road into a parking lot. Just something to give it every last drop that it can to get you to a safe area if this happens to you on the road. And then as soon as we're out, we're going to plug it immediately into the EcoFlow battery in the back. Oh, dang, look who's coming. This is as fast as I can go. Oh, you can push it once it dies. Feel free. Yeah, with that car, that works too. I just want to see if it goes into neutral or what happens, because it's definitely still pushing us along here at 5 miles an hour. Oh, 4 miles an hour. But I'm floored, and it's not like it's in neutral. It's definitely pushing a little bit. So anyway, wow, I can barely fit that leaf in frame. It's a nice car. Battery saver active just came on. I have no idea what that means other than climate is off completely now, even though I've got the fan all the way up. Climate is off. So that's the battery saver portion, I guess. I'll just turn temp off and turn all that off. Well, leave it in auto, whatever. It doesn't make a difference. It's off anyway. Battery saver active. And it's dying right next to the charge rigs. Unfortunately, with the interoperability issue, it can't charge this one. But I do have the EcoFlow to charge up. 3 miles an hour. Man, how far is it going to go at 3? I feel like maybe we should count. We should count the distance because it's pushing us along. I did not expect this. I thought it was genuinely coasting. But no, the motor is doing something just to get you out of a pickle. We are really going slow now. And I would say we're going way slower than 3 miles an hour. Obviously, because it says 2 miles an hour, but this feels like 1 mile an hour to me. Maybe it is 2. It's definitely on its last leg. This is all it's got right here. And it's just doing everything it can to keep it moving. I love this. This is honestly the best situation you can ask for, which is when you're at the bottom, just do everything you can for safety. Oh no, I can see Alyssa coming up. She wants to give us a push. But I'm going to say, don't give us a push because I want to know if it auto goes in a park or just dies or shuts off or I'm not sure what. Let's see. It's still going. And you got the Autel scan tool. I haven't even explained to the viewers why that's the case yet, but we'll find out here in a second. It's still going at 2 miles an hour. What? Keeps chugging. Oh, it just died right there. That's it. It actually shut off completely. Well, let me put it into park. Park, yes. Drive, yes, but it won't move. That's it. This is where it ends. Now, if I shut it off and turn it back on, do you think it will give me a little bit more? Some cars have the little bottom restart. I would be surprised. Let's see. Put on the brake, start it up. We'll shut the lights off to save the 12 volt. Automatic light control off. Okay, that's not a big one. Out of energy, charge vehicle now. Into drive. Nope, won't move, and we have the vehicle fault code on there. That's going to be the interesting thing. Propulsion power is not just reduced, it's dead. So now that we've drained the Spark completely out of juice, it will not move. There's no propulsion power. I have heard from Alex that this car throws a fault code when it gets run all the way out, and it needs to be reset from a scan tool, which seems kind of crazy to me. So just in case, I have brought along my super nice scan tool that Autel sent our way. Put it on my workbench up here. This is the Autel something, can't remember the name of it, did a video on it a while ago, but it's like an EV specific, oh, with the spider. We're not going to be using the Autel scan tool. That will be burned. Let's see if it will actually charge. Because Alex seems to think, and he doesn't know for sure, but Alex seems to think that when it dies completely, it won't even accept a charge, which seems crazy without clearing the fault code. So we're going to find out. I'm going to put in my twist lock adapter, turn on this, plug in my AC EVSE, boom, locked in, turn on my AC inverter, which should power my, yep, EVSE. Now, thankfully, this is only going to pull this car 16 amps, so I don't even need to worry about derating my EVSE to not blow up the Autel, or blow up the EcoFlow. We'll be good. But let's put some juice in it and see. Okay, so this has gone orange, which means it's communicating. And it does go green. It is accepting a charge, and it is charging. So our theory that it wouldn't accept a charge was incorrect. It is charging as soon as it dies. The question is, once we put in, I guess, a kilowatt hour or two, will it actually let us restart it without having to clear a code? Because that was the big question mark on the Fizz when these guys were doing the 500-mile road trip. We sent them with a scan tool, or I think maybe we didn't send them with a scan tool, but we wanted to, just in case they ran out of charge, and they were able to charge, but the car bricked. I don't know what the idea was behind that, but we'll find out here momentarily. It's doing 3.3 kilowatts right off the EcoFlow Pro Delta Pro Ultra. Shout out to those guys for sending us this, because this is such a cool device to be able to charge and have a little range extender for a car like this. Perfect. Extra 6 kilowatt hours. That's like 50% of this battery almost. About 40% of the battery. All right, we'll let it juice up, do its thing. I can hear the cooling pumps running. AC compressor, fans are on. We'll come back to it after an hour or so. I don't know, 30 minutes, an hour. It's 7 o'clock p.m. Let's say 7:30. Anything after that, we'll put in enough energy to get it back to the garage. Well, it's been about 30 minutes. It's 7:28, 7:29 or so. And still outputting 3.3 kilowatts. So it seems to be accepting a charge just fine. Let's see what happens when I get in there and turn it on. I'll keep it plugged in and charging. But, you know, a 30-minute AC charge. So let's see. It says, reminder, remote left in vehicle, 3 miles of range. If I turn it on, the battery warning light went away. I'm going to turn climate control off, and it shows 3 miles of range. So maybe we're good. I'm going to unplug it and let's see. Maybe we don't actually have to do the thing. So let's unplug it. Alyssa, why don't you hop in there? Just see if it can inch forwards or not. Just a reminder, I've got the cord, so don't drive away. It says charge vehicle soon. Oh, it moves. So you don't have to do the reset. That's awesome news. I thought this was going to really be a bad one. Maybe it's just the early Sparks with the A123 battery that throw the fault code then. Because this definitely, you know, charged up 30 minutes on AC and it's good to go. Cool. Well, let me wrap this cord situation up and then you can bring it on back to the bay. And just like that, you're good to roll. See you back at the garage. Well, there you guys go. The Chevy Spark electric run to zero. Clearly an interesting electric car at a very interesting price point where these things are super fun, and ours has been pretty great to us, and we have really kicked the snot out of this one. So shout out to the Spark for going into limp mode, trying to do everything it could right at the end to continue. Again, 6 miles past turtle mode I think is commendable, especially as a percentage of overall what this car can do. Again, always curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. Should zero mean zero, or should there be a buffer? After we do a few more of these tests, we'll essentially be able to benchmark what every automaker does and then come to our own recommendations as to what people should do, automakers should do. So there you go, Chevy Spark, run to zero. Thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec testing video. See you in another one again soon. Bye-bye.